The entertainment world is shaking as one of its most iconic figures, Diddy Combs, faces serious allegations from a teen victim who has now been thrust into the legal spotlight. This isn't just a typical celebrity scandal. This is a case that raises uncomfortable questions about power, privacy, and the struggle for justice. In an unexpected move, the court has ordered the victim, known as Jane Doe, to reveal her identity, sparking fierce debates about the consequences of such a ruling. Is this a necessary step for fairness, or does it put the victim's safety at risk? Today, we dive into the details of this controversial case that's igniting conversations across the globe. The allegations and anonymity, a battle for truth and safety. The case against Diddy began with shocking allegations made by a young woman who came forward as Jane Doe to protect her identity. In her lawsuit, she accused the music mogul of sexual misconduct and exploitation, claiming that these events took place years ago. Her anonymity was crucial in shielding her from public backlash, and her decision to come forward was a brave one. Unfortunately, the legal battle is now forcing her to relinquish the very protection she sought. This case isn't just about the allegations, it's about the fight for justice in an industry notorious for protecting the powerful while silencing the vulnerable. Jane's anonymity wasn't about hiding from the truth, it was a protective measure, keeping her safe from the potential storm of media scrutiny, harassment, and the ever-present risk of retaliation. But now, as the case progresses, the court's decision threatens to unravel this crucial layer of protection. The court's decision, fairness, or a chilling message? In a surprising ruling, a judge ordered that Jane Doe reveal her identity in order for the case to move forward. The reasoning behind this decision centers on fairness and due process. Diddy's legal team argued that the victim's anonymity made it impossible to mount a proper defense, leaving them at a significant disadvantage. On the surface, this might appear as a move toward transparency. However, legal experts are divided. Some argued that this decision is necessary for a fair trial, ensuring that both sides have equal footing. But many worry that the ruling sets a dangerous precedent, especially for victims who are already vulnerable. Could this decision discourage others from coming forward? Could it silence those who fear retribution or public shaming? This is where the balance between due process and protecting survivors becomes a complex and divisive issue. Diddy's defense, equal treatment and accountability. Diddy's defense team has embraced the court's ruling, emphasizing the importance of transparency and equal treatment in the legal system. According to them, the anonymity of the victim has made it difficult to properly address the accusations and defend the artist's reputation. The principle of fairness is at the heart of our justice system, a representative for Diddy remarked. Anonymity should not be a shield for making serious allegations without the same level of accountability. Diddy's team argues that knowing the accuser's identity is crucial in preparing their defense, particularly to investigate any potential motives or hidden agendas that might influence the case. While their stance on the issue of fairness is understandable, it's hard to ignore the potential risks the victim now faces by having her identity exposed. As much as transparency is needed for justice to be served, the consequences of exposing the victim could have long-lasting, life-altering effects. Victims' rights advocates, retraumatization and fear. The backlash from victims' rights advocates has been swift and powerful. Many argue that forcing a survivor to reveal their identity in such a high-profile case could lead to retraumatization. Survivors of sexual abuse often experience profound emotional and psychological scars, and being thrust into the public eye could make their healing process even more difficult. Organizations like the National Alliance to End Sexual Violence have pointed out that survivors of abuse often face severe consequences, such as harassment, threats, and public shaming, once their identity is revealed. As one advocate explained, this decision sends a chilling message to victims everywhere. If you speak out, you might not only be forced to relive your trauma in a courtroom, but you may also have to face the world knowing that your identity is now public. By setting this precedent, many fear that the court has made it harder for survivors to come forward in future cases, potentially discouraging others from seeking justice for fear of exposure and retaliation. The stakes: safety, scrutiny, and public opinion. The stakes in this case are incredibly high, not just for Diddy and the victim, but for the entire entertainment industry. Diddy is one of the most influential figures in the music business, with millions of fans around the world. The victim's identity being made public could open her up to harassment and even threats from Diddy's fan base. Additionally, The media's role in amplifying the case has already created a frenzy, with constant coverage and intense scrutiny surrounding every detail. The victim's legal team has expressed their deep concern that the public nature of the case could lead to more harm than good, especially when the media often sensationalizes such high-profile lawsuits. With so many moving pieces, the question remains, will the pursuit of justice come at too high a cost for the victim? Will the fear of public backlash and retaliation overshadow the need for transparency? The legal battle, appeals, and public debate. Jane Doe's legal team has signaled the possibility of appealing the court's ruling, citing a long history of protecting the identities of sexual assault victims in high-profile cases. They argue that forcing a victim to reveal their identity does not equate to a fair trial, but instead could discourage other survivors from coming forward. The legal battle is far from over, and with the ruling sparking intense public debate, it's clear that the conversation surrounding privacy and justice is only getting started. This case has triggered widespread discussions across social media, legal forums, and news outlets, with people taking sides on whether the ruling was fair or whether it compromises the safety of survivors. Will the legal system reconsider this ruling, or will it set a precedent that forces future victims to choose between their safety and their pursuit of justice? The psychological impact, secondary victimization. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of this case is the potential for secondary victimization, the re-traumatization of the survivor as a result of the legal proceedings. Forcing a victim to reveal their identity can exacerbate feelings of fear, shame, and helplessness. Psychologists who specialize in trauma argue that the process of going public can be as damaging, if not more, than the original abuse. In an interview, one psychologist noted, forcing someone to relive their trauma in such an open, public way is detrimental to their mental health. It can undo years of healing, leaving them with deep psychological scars that may never fully heal. In this case, the victim's journey toward healing could be delayed or completely derailed if the court's decision leads to public exposure and the emotional toll that comes with it. The broader implications, silencing survivors. This case raises important questions not just about the legal process, but about the broader cultural implications of forcing victims to publicly identify themselves. What message does this send to survivors of abuse everywhere? Is the legal system prioritizing due process over the safety and well-being of those who have already suffered enough? By forcing survivors to reveal their identities in such high-profile cases, the court risks silencing victims before they even speak. Many survivors already feel silenced by their trauma, and this decision could compound those feelings, making it harder for future victims to come forward. The ongoing fight, justice, power, and protection. As the case moves forward, the legal and cultural implications will continue to unfold. The decision to force the victim to reveal her identity has sparked a fierce debate about the balance between fairness, privacy, and justice. This case isn't just about one individual, it's about setting a precedent for how future cases of sexual abuse will be handled in the public eye. What happens in this case will undoubtedly shape the way we approach issues of privacy, justice, and the protection of victims in high-profile cases. Will the legal system learn from this, or will it continue to prioritize transparency at the cost of survivors' safety? The world is watching, and the outcome of this case will reverberate for years to come. As this case continues to develop, we want to hear your thoughts. Do you think the court's decision was fair, or does it put the victim's safety at risk? Should victims be required to reveal their identities in high-profile cases? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on this ongoing legal battle. The fight for justice and protection of survivors is just beginning. Stay tuned for more.